Welcome to the Jamal Thomas Morning Show. My name is Jamal Thomas. This is my show, or we can say our show, because I can't necessarily have a show without you. And I'm glad, regardless of where you are in the world, that you've decided to show up and join me here as we go through news, politics, and all of these things that address us on a daily basis. Now, man, I hope you guys are doing good. It is Monday. It is early in the morning. I am up. In fact, I was up at like 4 a.m., so I am wide awake at this point. And we have a damn good show for you today. Mark Sloboda is going to be here hitting several topics first thing this morning. Later on, we're going to have Kit Clarenberg. I haven't had Kit on the show in a while, so it'd be great to catch up with him. He's written an article that I think is a damn good article. And I think it's a damn good article because it's one of those stories that hasn't necessarily been told, but should be. And I'm not going to preempt him. I'm going to let him bring that on. And we're also going to have the man himself. He's probably going to have a stogie with him. And that is going to be Michael Maloof. Maloof has been in the defense industry for like 30 years. And Elon Musk made a comment. And I thought to myself, okay, it's creepy that Musk is looking into it. By the same token, it should be looked into. It's kind of, it's like there's no way out of that box. Somebody other than him should be looking at it, yes. By the same token, there's something to be said that we have deep problems with the way that we do defense. And I would argue, and I've asked this question on more than one occasion. How do we know that we are getting bang for the buck? I hope you understand my question. Meaning, we invest billions into the military. And investing billions into the military, I'm sorry, not billions, what the number is, like $1 trillion a year, give or take. How do we know that the money that we're investing in that trillion is indeed coming back in regards return on investment? How do we know? And I guess my thing was always, we don't. Not just we don't. When anybody brings up this notion of an audit, it gets poo-pooed away saying, well, we can't audit the defense industry. Okay, well, if we can't audit it, then how do we know that the money that we're spending on it is worth the money that we're spending on it? It's that part. So when Elon made the point of saying we're going to lose the next war, my thing was, hey, Elon may have a point, even though I don't want Elon to be the person to be the determining factor on how we do our defense. There's that. So yeah, damn good show for you today. I want to start off with Pelosi. I would say that Democrats are in a bit of disarray. And the reason why I say they're in a bit of disarray is because they're in a bit of disarray. They don't seem to know how to deal with the new Donald Trump. A Trump that's more confident, that's more secure, and not just more confident and more secure, but beat them where it counts in the ballot box, not just getting the vote tally enough to get over the finish line, but actually winning outright in the election. And they don't seem to know what to do with that. They get a population that says was like 30% approve of the Democratic Party. They get Trump with the polling that doesn't look necessarily horrible, even after all of the Bigfoot moves that he has been doing since getting into that office. They don't seem to know how to deal with that. All right, clearly something needs to change. They just don't know what that something is. And one caveat, they don't know what that something is in the context of maintaining the system as it currently operates. There's a difference in those things. What I mean by that is, it's like saying, I want to maintain my same living situation. However, other things are not intact for me to maintain that living situation. And yet I want to maintain the living situation. Meaning they know that something is wrong, but they don't necessarily want to change anything real in order to deal with the things that are wrong. And therein lies the rub with the current Democratic Party. And not just the current Democratic Party, what they are going to do in order to deal with addressing Trump and addressing him going forward. So Pelosi dragged on to CNN. She may not necessarily be Speaker of the House, but she is still Mama Bear in regards to the way people see the political space. And Pelosi, astonishingly, said this. And I'm going to play this out a little bit just so you can hear the lead up to what Pelosi is saying here.
Tonight, Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi says that Democrats have a plan to counter President Trump's aggressive political agenda, as her party has been zeroing in on Elon Musk, holding rallies at the very agencies that he has been working to purge. Now, almost 3 weeks into the second Trump presidency, the former House Speaker says change is coming.
We're very proud of Hakeem Jeffries, our leader. He has given us guidance on our priorities, what we're here to fight for, but also how we counter the Trump administration with litigation in the courts, legislation on the floor of the House, as well as communication and mobilization at the grassroots level. In about 6 or 7 months, you're going to see such a change. By the time we start our campaigns in this fall, for next fall, you're going to see a very different picture about the Democrats vis-a-vis Donald Trump.
Not ever.
What does that even mean? What does that even mean? 6 or 7 months? 6 or 7 months? So Pelosi is effectively saying, just hold on, guys. In 6 or 7 months, the Democratic Party is going to make adjustments. And you're going to see those adjustments in 6 or 7 months. You know, the thing that she didn't say in this, grand strategy. Grand strategy. Lawsuits are tactics. Yeah, you could say it's a strategy in the sense that this is something that you plan to do over and over and over again. Okay, fair enough. But let's be clear. A lawsuit is somewhat of a tactic. What I don't hear is we plan to set an agenda. And that agenda is going to focus on XYZ in order to bring people back to the party. That's what I don't hear. That's what she did not say. And I would argue that that is the thing that is probably more important than the other stuff. Meaning, what is underlying what you are effectively trying to tell the American public to say, hey, we are actually a viable party. We're a viable vehicle for you to come back to, for you to be involved in, for you to kind of push in order to do social change. We are a viable party to do that. I'm pointing out that without grand strategy in the context of this is what we represent, this is what we stand for, this is what we're pushing for, this other stuff is secondary. Now, you may hope that Trump falls flat. And if he falls flat, that you can kind of pick up the pieces and run with the fact that he fell flat. But that is more so waiting for your opponent to screw up, which he may do. Because again, we're, after all, talking about Donald Trump. But that is not the most, that doesn't instill me with confidence. That doesn't give me this feeling like, ooh, they get the fact that they have screwed up somewhere along the way. That is not what I get out of this. That is not what I get out of this. So one of the other things that came up, Pod Save America. So Pod Save America was asked this. And listen to what he's saying here. His argument is effectively where Democrats are trying to sort themselves out. And as Democrats sort themselves out, we still need people to continue to support and vote for the Democratic Party as it sorts itself out. What? What? You want people to back and vote for you, to push for you, to try to get you in office when you don't even know what you are. I hope you understand what I mean, right? Like one of the main things in the questions that continuously came up, what do you represent? What do you stand for? What does it mean to be a Democrat? And over again, they did not necessarily have the best of answer for that. And in not having a good answer for it, you can imagine people looking at this and saying, okay, well, why am I voting for something if you can't even tell me what you are? His thing is, well, we still need people to vote for us. And between Trump and Democrats, it's easy. If it was that easy, Kamala Harris would be president of the United States. This is right here. I'm not going to play the entirety of the clip. I'm just going to play a part of it in order to make the point. But I think they're missing the boat.
Pod Save America. The direction that I'm seeing is vote for Democrats. Mm-hmm. You even have a political action wing that is a part as a way to fund candidates. But I found something, and this is just from me traveling the country and performing for a wide variety of different audiences in different states. Yeah. The general public as a whole doesn't trust politicians as a whole.
100%.
On either side, because they don't think that they represent them.
And less so than at any time in recent history.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with them. They feel like they represent their donors. So how is voting even harder for Democrats the answer?
Yeah,
they're concerned.
It's not. It's part of what we want to do, and what we've been trying to do, as well as just vote for Democrats, is having a conversation, being a place for a conversation and a debate about the future of the Democratic Party and what kind of Democratic candidates we want to elect, and focusing on primaries and what kind of party we want to be, what we want to stand for. And I think there's a healthy debate to be had. There's also a lot of emotion around that, especially now. But I think that's critical, because I don't think, now, the reason we still say go vote Democrats is because when it's, at the end of the day, when it's Democrats versus Donald Trump and his brand of Republicans, then it's a pretty easy choice, even if the Democrats are perfect or you don't like them that much. But ideally, we want to build a party that people want to be part of.
Dude, I think you're missing the boat. And I don't say this brutally. I say it honestly. I think you're missing the boat. You're making this argument that people should vote for Democrats, even when Democrats don't know what they stand for, don't know what they represent, and for that part, the public don't know what they stand for and don't know what they represent. And you still make this argument, well, we believe people should vote for Democrats anyway. Why? I understand why you think that, because you're a Democrat. But what about everybody else? I find that clip to be astonishing, just like I find the last clip to be rather astonishing. You are a political party in the United States, one of the major political parties, and you have no clue what you represent in real terms. And despite having no clue in what you represent in real terms, you are still making a pitch for people to vote for you. That is astonishing. What are they voting for? No clue. No clue. But we still want people to vote for us. We still want you to go out and support and send us money because, Kamala Harris is $20 million in debt. That is outrageous. That is outrageous. Now, I know that he's sitting here with his legs crossed thinking that what he just said makes perfect sense. I'm pointing out that is absurd. It's an absurd premise. Vote for me even though you don't necessarily know what you're voting for. Okay, fair enough. If people do that, how do they ever affect their political agenda? Say for the moment that people are voting not for the sake of voting. Say people are voting because they want to actually get something accomplished. People like me. How can I get something accomplished if you don't even know what you're trying to get accomplished? And why should I give you any level of support if indeed you don't know what you want to get accomplished? How do I know that what you get accomplished or what you want to get accomplished falls in line with what I want to get accomplished? There is no way for me to know that if you don't know who you are, if you don't know what you represent, if you don't know what you're pushing for in the political space. This is absurdity. Whether it's coming out of Pelosi saying, give us 7 months in order to figure out who we are and what we represent, or this guy saying, we don't know what we are. And despite the fact that we don't necessarily know what we are, we still want your support. Outrageous. Outrageous. Completely and entirely outrageous. There's a saying that the right wins when the left loses. And what's meant by that is that for all intents and purposes, if you are fighting on the side of the left and you're doing this kind of legitimate push for workers' rights, workers' protection, those type of things, you're dealing with the overwhelming majority of the American public and have a much better chance of getting those people on your side, as opposed to, let's say, a 1% from the right. I think that's true in the US. I even think that's true in Europe. But I want to go to my guess. Just outrageous, just astonishing. Thank you by these guys. Let me go to my guess. We are